What happens when one of America's most beloved icons walks into a room and refuses to be intimidated? When Dolly Parton, with her warm smile and sparkling presence, faced Joy Behar on live television, no one could have predicted the confrontation that would unfold. What began as a standard daytime interview quickly turned into a lesson on respect, resilience, and the courage it takes to stand up to a bully. The studio of The View buzzed with its usual pre-show energy, lights flickering across the polished set, cameras rolled, crew members whispered, and the audience settled into anticipation. Dolly Parton, clad in her signature sequined jacket, took her seat. She had been a guest on countless talk shows, yet something in the air that day felt different. Across from her, Joy Behar adjusted her posture, the kind of calculated poise that hinted at trouble. Joy began with her trademark smile, polite on the surface but sharp underneath. "You've been making music for, what, 50 years now?" she asked, leaning forward. "Don't you think it's time to maybe update that look? The big hair, the sequins, it's very 1970s. Dolly's smile didn't falter, but her eyes sharpened. "Honey, I've always believed that if something works, why fix it? My fans love me just the way I am." But Joy pressed on, her tone growing more confrontational. "Don't you think you're setting a bad example for young women? All this emphasis on appearance, on costumes, it's not exactly feminist, is it?" The other hosts shifted uncomfortably. Whoopi Goldberg cast Joy a warning glance, while Sarah Haynes tried to redirect the conversation. But Joy, sensing a live moment of power, cut her off, relentless. "I'm serious, Dolly. You've built your brand on looking like a cartoon character. Isn't that shallow?" Dolly's fingers drummed lightly on her knee, a subtle cue for those who knew her. She was choosing her words with care. "Joy, darling, I've never claimed to be anything other than exactly who I am. I write my songs, run my businesses, and employ thousands of people. If that's not serious enough for you, it says more about you than about me." The audience murmured approval, but Joy's tone hardened. "Oh, please, Dolly. You can't seriously sit there and tell me your success isn't built on male fantasies. You're basically a Barbie doll with a guitar." Dolly's voice stayed calm, but a steel edge crept in. "Go ahead, honey. Tell me what you really think." Joy leaned in, her face alight with what she thought was the upper hand. "I think you spent your whole career dumbing yourself down to appeal to men. Your cutesy, helpless act is an insult to women fighting for equality. It's about time someone called you out." The studio went silent. Even the camera operators paused, capturing the moment as if holding their breath. Dolly sat still, her smile steady, but her posture shifted subtly, the calm before the storm. "Well, that's certainly an opinion you're entitled to have," Dolly said softly. "But tell me this, how many literacy programs have you started? How many children have you helped through college? How many hospitals have you funded?" For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Joy's face. "That's not the point I was making." "Oh, but it is exactly the point," Dolly continued, gaining strength. "While you've been tearing down women from behind this desk, I've been building them up. My imagination library has given over 100 million books to children. I've created thousands of jobs, most for women. I've mentored countless young artists. And none of that matters to you because you don't like my hair?" The audience leaned in, sensing they were witnessing something extraordinary. Dolly held up a hand, commanding silence. "You want to talk about feminism? Real feminism is about women supporting other women, not tearing them down because they make different choices than you do. Real feminism is judging by actions, not appearances. And it's about having the courage to be exactly who you are, regardless of bitter, judgmental voices." Joy's face flushed red. "I'm not bitter," she protested. "From where I'm sitting," Dolly said quietly, "you seem awfully angry at a woman you've never met for choices that don't affect you at all. That's bitter, Joy." The other hosts exchanged tense glances, like spectators watching a masterclass in confrontation. Joy tried to reclaim control. "Look, Dolly, I'm just saying your image sends the wrong message." Dolly cut her off. "No, Joy, That's what you're doing. You're telling women that embracing femininity makes them less, that to be taken seriously, women must look and act like men. That's not feminism, that's another kind of prison." The audience started murmuring agreement. Joy's voice faltered. "But that's not what I meant." "Isn't it?" Dolly pressed. "Because what I've heard from you so far suggests that any woman who embraces traditional femininity is betraying the cause. What gives you the right to decide how women present themselves?" Joy opened her mouth to speak, but Dolly wasn't finished. "Authenticity isn't about tearing others down. Authenticity is admitting you grew up poor in the Tennessee mountains, working every day to become better. Authenticity is choosing to present yourself in ways that open doors and make people feel good. Authenticity is never pretending to be something you're not. What's not authentic is sitting behind a desk throwing stones because you're uncomfortable with someone else's choices." Joy doubled down. "You're still selling an image that tells women they need to look a certain way to succeed." "No, Joy," Dolly said firmly. "That's you. You're saying that femininity is weakness. I'm saying it's strength. There's room for all kinds of women, but in your world, there's only room for women who make the same choices you do." The audience was silent, captivated. Joy tried one last gambit. "You're twisting my words. I never said those things." "Your words speak for themselves," Dolly replied. "You called me a cartoon character, a Barbie doll. You accused me of being fake and dishonest. Those are your words, Joy. Own on them." Silence stretched across the studio like a held breath. Joy looked around helplessly. No co-host met her eyes. Finally, standing abruptly and removing her microphone, she said, trembling, "I've had enough of this conversation." "Sit down, Joy," Whoopi interjected, but it was too late. "No, I won't sit here and be lectured by a living doll," Joy shouted. Dolly remained calm, observing with something close to pity. "And there it is," she said softly, "the real Joy Behar, not the journalist, not the champion of women, just a bitter woman who can't stand to see another woman succeed on her own terms." Joy's face contorted with rage. "I don't have to listen to this from a washed-up country singer." The audience gasped. Dolly smiled serenely. "And there you go again, Joy. When you can't win on merit, you resort to attacks." The silence became unbearable. Finally, Joy muttered, "I'm done. This isn't professional journalism." Dolly, still calm, replied with gentle surprise, "Joy, honey, you're the one with the microphone and platform. You invited me here. You attacked me from the moment I sat down. If anyone's being ambushed, it's me." Joy walked off the set, earpiece discarded, leaving stunned hosts and a speechless audience in her wake. Whoopi cleared her throat, trying to restore calm. "No need to apologize, Whoopi," Dolly gracefully said. "Sometimes people show you exactly who they are. You just have to accept it and move on. Now, didn't you want to ask me about my new album?" The audience erupted in applause, releasing tension built over the last 30 minutes. Dolly Parton, with nothing but grace, intelligence, and an unshakable sense of self, had exposed a bully in front of millions. She had proven that sometimes the best way to handle someone trying to tear you down is to simply stand your ground and let them unravel themselves. This confrontation was more than television drama. It was a lesson in courage, dignity, and the power of self-respect. And for those watching that day, it was a reminder that being true to yourself, even when challenged, is the ultimate strength.